here we are with the world famous Mark Honeybone, the Property Ventures podcast. It's been going a few years now, Mark, and here I am introducing you.
Yeah, well, nice change. I mean, you were one of the first ones about 8 or 9 years ago, and we were just telling someone before, for an hour and a half, we couldn't shut you up. So, we've come a long way. We've got good volume now, and people can hear us.
What Fuchsia says that man who give short speeches much appreciated by a lot of people. So here we go. Hey, look, what we're going to be talking about today, which is quite topical, because I've noticed recently you've been looking after a lot of people in a distressed situation, right? Yeah. These are people that have been given notices quite often by third-tier lenders, which can be pretty brutal, and banks giving them the opportunity to sell before they're being put into a mortgagee sale. So share with us what's been going on in that space, because I've been doing quite a few auctions with you around that space too.
Yeah, happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it comes down to, I guess, it's that time of the market, and it's a sad time of the market for a lot of, bad things do happen to good people.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate things. Hey, it's happened to me before, and I'm a good person, aren't I?
You are?
Yeah.
Honeybone and I having that chat too with all our mortgages going, you get the call from the bank going, just to let you know it's coming off.
Yeah.
It's coming off.
I've got one right now at the end of this month that happens, and it's about the same price as a first home buyer market, and it's going up $3,000 a month. How many first home buyer people from 3 years ago could afford another 36, 40 grand out of their living expenses for anything? And, and that's one of the reasons. So, a lot of people out there listening to this, probably they brought in the end of 21, start of 22. The market in Auckland obviously crashed 19.2% after that. It's been flat for the last 12 months at the moment. And so that's hurt a lot of people, but what's hurt it is those interest rates. Mr. Bollard won't put them down quick enough.
That's happening today too.
It is. So this is done before that. And I've got, should I say my prediction or not?
Yeah, okay.
I don't predict things.
I like bottoms of predictions. We've all got one.
Everyone thinks it's going to, everyone's been saying since the last one it's going to stay the same, but I'm just hearing in the background the amount of hurts going on. Maybe it might drop 0.25, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, but 6.5 would be good. Anyway, people's obviously equity have gone down a lot, which is bad enough, but then with the interest rates high, such as my 3,000 example a month now, people just can't afford to pay, and they haven't been paying. And unfortunately, there have been a lot of people. I've got 3 on the go right now. Two of them, 2 properties. Both parties have lost their job, and the other one has lost their job. So you add all that up, that's pretty hard, right? And that's one of the reasons I want to just talk about it, because I've dealt with mortgagees for quite a long time. In fact, well before my real estate selling days, I used to actually be on the other side buying from them.
Yeah.
But we won't talk about that because I've grown and I'm helping people now. But in saying that, if you give the buyer, it does help. But
yes.
But we talked about how to help the vendor that is under pressure, I guess, and why system, as I see it, do's and don'ts. So that's the reason we're here today.
Right. Aaron. So what are the do's and don'ts?
Well, the do's and the don't is don't ignore it, because it's going to happen. If the bank rings up or the second tier lender rings up and says, Aaron, you're not paying your bills, we need to do something about it. Don't just, because all the people I see, they just start ignoring it, going, well, it's hard, and it's hard. When you're in a situation financially, it's bloody hard.
Yep.
So you're sitting there.
Debt is not going away.
It's not going away. And then I've had 3 in the last month, and I've listed 2 of them, about to list a third, and I've had the call, and 2 of them I've spoken to them on the Friday. And just for example, for one of them, it was, if I don't come up with $68,000 today, we're going to mortgagee sale on Monday. That's what they've told the vendor. And so finally, in a roundabout way, somehow they've got in front of me, and I'm around there and said, well, I might be able to help you. I've helped a few people before, and let's go and do it. Why that's important at that stage, don't just put it aside, because it will go to mortgagee sale on the Monday. As soon as you say to the Mrs. Lender that actually I'm going to sell my property now, here's the name of the agency and the person that's going to sell it for me, we're starting a campaign next week, they give you 6 weeks more, on the 4 or 6 weeks. So I'm not saying that to do the back deal, you're doing the right thing.
As long if the bank go, they're working with you, right?
Yeah.
As ruthless as they can sometimes be, they're not, they have to give you an opportunity to get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And because they're going to have to pay the money anyway, right? It's less work and energy for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And that's what some people don't really understand, that it's going to happen, and the follow on, I guess, what we'll talk about soon, what happens at the mortgagee, and why you want to avoid it. But I mean, it's way less energy for them, and they want.
So reach out to an
yourself.
expert, someone like you who's done it many times before, because you're too humble to say, but you've also, I remember you were telling me a story how you approached the bank on their behalf and said, hey, this is what they're trying to do, right? Yeah. Give them some breathing space, give them an opportunity, right?
Well, funny story, really. We just the first of the three I've got right now. I won't say the second tier lender, but you'll remember the sale in Hillsborough we did about, I don't know, end of last year or start of this year, I don't remember when it was. And that particular property went to mortgagee sale, and they had one bid at, I think, $650, and that was it, and they said no. And I was already in the background just starting to list it at the time, and they left it to me. And you did the most craziest, no, you always do crazy auctions. One of the most craziest auctions I've seen. And after the auction, we had bidders there, and after the auction, we negotiated with these two parties, and they, I don't know, I went for well over $1 million, with 1080 or 1.1. It went about 100,000 more than I thought it would actually get. But that's a different mortgagee auction, 650, compared with 1.1, or just under 1.1. But the funny reason I'm telling you this story is the first lady just come to me 3 or 4 weeks ago. I said who was the finance company, and she said who it was, and I thought, geez, I'm sure that's the same one. So she rang up the finance company and said, hey, I'm going to list it. I'm going to list it now, and I've got Mark Honeybone, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, great, I know Mark, we'll leave you with it for 8 weeks, and you'll do your thing and go and do it. So I had to ring him also, because I have to touch base, and it's working out well so far. So let's hope we get a good result out of it.
I say to people why you would employ an agent, because you're in control. You can set the terms, you can set the date, and you can also give vendor warranties. A mortgagee sale, the bank is giving no vendor warranty, so that's always going to eat into your equity significantly. And also, the bank don't do it for free, do they? If they put you to mortgagee sale, they're still going to charge you all their costs and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So you just end up with less money.
And you're exactly right. And another reason you have less money is because normally the vendor who's gone to mortgagee sale, they put a wall up, they still don't want to accept it, and then they don't let people through their house. Now that's the worst thing you can do, and probably 50% of mortgagee sales I've been associated with in the last, back 10 years ago when I used to deal with them, and again lately, is they block it, they stop the people selling their property. What might seem to them they're good, but you can't run away from it, as we said, and it's going to sell.
It's inevitable, right?
Yeah, and if people can't go to your property, how many places do you sell at auction, and the people haven't been inside the house? Are there many?
Well, they are, but they'll take a massive chunk out of your equity.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. So some people at mortgagee auction, they go to the mortgagee auction, no one's been through it, they have to sell it for $100,000 or $200,000 less. That's just the nature of the beast. And unfortunately, a lot of people go to mortgagee sale, and people listening to this will be there, or maybe been close there, or been through it, sort of thing. If that place is worth, I don't know, $800,000, for example, the debt's not always going to be $600,000 they owe. It might be $750,000, it might even be $900,000. So there's a whole lot of variables that come into it. And if someone has to say, geez, for me, if I was going to mortgage sale because I couldn't pay my debts, and I knew I owed $600,000 and it was worth $800,000, why would you stop people coming through the property? Because they're only going to offer you $600, and you might get $750, and there's $150 in your pocket. That's on a good day.
Yeah. No. Be in control. And also for those that are listening too, if it's too late and you're in a mortgagee sale, a lot of people don't realise you can still sell it yourself.
Absolutely.
Even because the bank don't care.
They just want it sold.
They just want it sold.
They want their money back.
If you can get your ducks lined up prior to the mortgagee auction, then the bank will take it too. They'll withdraw it from the market and sell it. So you can still do it post if you're too late, correct?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what happened with the one we did at Hillsborough. That sort of, I started just at the same time they started. So we had sort of two campaigns going on there.
Yeah.
So we had a few wise, sneaky people try to come through me, but I vetted them and you knew what to do, and that sort of worked out well. So you don't want to fight it, because it's going to happen, and that's the end of the story. That's it. So, and the other thing is is it's nice having, like for example now if I've got the 3 going on, there's actually 3 parties. When it's a mortgagee sale, it's not between me and the vendor anymore. The vendor's out of the picture, right?
Yeah.
So it's between me and the bank, and I'm just talking to them, and the poor old vendor has no say in what goes on. So at least when it's me and the vendor, then they can still control it within reason. Obviously, if they get $200,000 less than they owe the bank still need to do it. So there is 3 parties. The vendor's my boss, they're my client, but I still talk to the bank and I make sure that they're happy with that.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to you've done thousands of these, but
No,
when it
but
comes to auction,
our listeners know have it.
yeah.
So
But when it comes to auction day,
yes.
there's not just the vendor. There's a vendor and the bank might be on the phone, or sometimes even be there, sort of thing. So. Yeah.
And another consideration too is if you have an auction and you get enough cash but it's not enough to release the mortgage, then we still get that buyer on paper. You send it to your bank and go, there you go, bank, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And it's their decision whether they want to take a loss, right? And quite often they do if you show them that it's fair market value, right?
Yeah.
Because again, they want it off their books.
Yeah, definitely. They just want it off their books. And the other thing by actually talking with the bank and the vendor, if the vendor, we've got one delicate one at the moment where they probably won't get as much as they owe the bank. But if you do it right, the vendor's showing the bank they're trying to do the right thing, they might actually write off a little bit of debt.
Yeah.
I know 10, 12, well, back in 2008 and 9 sort of thing, they were writing off a heap of debt after the financial crisis sort of thing.
Well, and some of those ones with the third tier, and look, we're not beating up against third tier lenders, right? All good, but they've charged massive fees, right?
Yeah.
So their mortgage, one that we know both personally, where the mortgage was $600,000 and they'd piled up like $250,000 worth of fees.
Yeah.
It was like, holy smokes. So yes, a third tier lender can go, well, okay, we've made enough money out of this, we can sell it for $780, let's move on, right?
Yeah.
So, but communication is that old cliche, right?
Yeah, but people just, it's hard, some here, know what the feeling's like when the pressure's on there and they're pressurising you. The last thing, you just want to push it away, and those, as I said, those fees that come up and they goes up 10, 20, 100, 150, $200,000. It's not real. It's you got interest you have to pay, but then these fees are on top because you haven't paid your bloody bills, and that's how people go. Well, how can you owe $850,000 when you only have an $800,000 property, for example? That's why it might have been 600. It might have been worth 950 a year and a half or 2.5 years ago, and they're borrowed against it.
Yeah.
And it's now at 800K plus the interest plus the fees. That's where it happens. And
so the learning out there for everybody is move fast.
Yeah, ask for help.
Ask for help, move fast, and put yourself in control.
Yeah.
Right? Versus handing over the control to the mortgagee.
Yeah, but keep the mortgagee in
the loop.
In the loop. Let them know what's happening all the time, and they'll like you, and they'll be softer on you when it comes, the hard time to sort of, when the hard times come, I guess.
Beautiful. So, unfortunate for some. Hopefully I'm never on that side of the ledger, but hey, if I am, I know who to come to.
Yeah, well, it's quite funny these days when people ring up and I know the people they're dealing with, so that's handy. And it is, and it really helps them out too. It's been quite a revelation sort of thing for some of them when they've got introduced to me somehow, and there we are.
Yeah.
Helping them out. And it's not a nice situation, so reach out, as Aaron said, reach out and ask for help.
Beautiful. Well, may those interest rates come down and then this becomes old news, but at the moment, very current, and thank you for the intel around mortgagees and third tier lenders, Mark.
Good on you, Aaron. Thanks for your contribution yet again. And we'll be back in 2 weeks, and I can tell you it is a very special guest next one. The most highest ranking New Zealander I'd say I've had on the show, except for Aaron Davis, of course.
Oh mate, I'm easy to beat. I'm just an old has-been.
Yeah, we know that, but
the highest ranking, what? Brian Thompson or
no, even
Cameron
higher
Bailey?
even higher than the Harcourt. Yeah, even higher than the highest
Green.
Harcourts. No, even out of Harcourts.
R-E-I-N-Z. Jen.
We won't even go there. You'll just have to watch. Sorry,
Okay.
Aaron, you'll have to watch in 2 weeks' time
nothing
also.
like a good suspense to keep me engaged. So all good.
Absolutely. No, thanks for watching, and back to the New Zealand Property Podcast in just over 2 weeks' time. Thanks very much.